Okay, let's try this again. Take two. Whew, hot acidic diarrhea. What's going on, YouTube vinyl community? It's your old pal Mikey Bananas from the Grown Man Record Night program. Here to do a little quick video. We've not done a little breakout video aside from the live streams in a while. It's been a little crazy around here in the studio, but I thought I'd do one because I actually got out into a Goodwill today and made a little CD score. I don't get to do that as much as I used to, and kind of pulled a few things out that were kind of interesting, so I thought I'd just make a quick video about it. You know, back in the day when I worked in the news business, I was hitting 10, 12, up to 15 thrift stores a week. And that's how I built the majority of my vinyl, well, not the majority, but the huge chunk of my early vinyl collection all came from thrift stores, dollar bins, like all day long. But I've said it before and I'll say it again, the way to do that is the battle of attrition. You have to routinely hit your rotation of stores, and they're not always going to produce, so you have to keep hitting them over and over. That's even more so the case nowadays, and the way vinyl's taken off, you just don't find that same stuff all the time, and you can still find it, but you really got to put in the work. But what you can find are CDs. When I first started collecting records, I totally abandoned CDs, which is really nearsighted, because nowadays I think that's the most bang for your buck, especially when it comes to thrift stores. You'll find stuff hand over fist before you will vinyl records most of the time. And so, and I was the guy that was like, oh, I don't want it on CD. It's got to be on vinyl. That's kind of horseshit. And it's especially a lot of the stuff like in the 90s, which I like a lot of 90s music. A lot of that stuff wasn't pressed too tough on vinyl. So unless it's been repressed, you're going to have a tough time coming across it at a good price. But CDs, whole nother ballgame. So this is all from one Goodwill, and I thought I'd just mention it real quick. This is a guy, I don't hear this cat talked about in the VC hardly at all, I don't think maybe ever, except for me. A guy named Chris Whitley. This is his debut, called Living with the Law. I have another album of his that I know much better called Dirt Floor. He's kind of a blues guitarist, a singer-songwriter guy, a little more low-key stuff at times, but he plays a resonator guitar, and it's fantastic stuff. I'm not a big whiny crybaby singer-songwriter kind of guy. It has to be a very special kind of stuff. This is very special stuff. I'm not as familiar with this debut, but I'm really interested to dig into it. It's amazing stuff. If you really like kind of that blues rock, that's kind of a misnomer, because that can be kind of corny. Blues rock can be corny. That reminds me of like a local bar band anyway. But this is fantastic stuff, and I love stuff played on a resonator guitar. Chris Whitley tragically died when he was like, God, I don't know how old he was, but it was 2005. He was young, like 45 maybe. And his daughter, actually, I think her name is Trixie Whitley, is also very talented. Check out her stuff as well. Bump, right down that same little line of CDs. I ran across this, Muddy and the Wolf. I think this was originally 1974. It was a session, and some people say this is kind of a misnomer, because one side is Muddy, which has Muddy Waters, Otis Spann, Michael Bloomfield, Fred Butterfield, Donald Duck Dunn, and Sam Lexi. The other side is tracks from the Howlin' Wolf London sessions. So you're talking Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, Bill Wyman, Charlie Watts, Hubert Sumlin, and Ian Stewart. So people were kind of ticked that it was like, it's kind of billed as Muddy and Howlin' Wolf on the same band, and it's not really that. But it's Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf. How can you? There's no shot this is bad, right? It's a Chess CD, pretty cool. And it's got one of my favorite blues tracks of all time on it, Red Rooster. So can't go wrong there. Really looking forward to checking that out. Now get into a couple of things that kind of point back to my film school days. Leonard Cohen. I knew Leonard Cohen from two things. I was not familiar with him until 93, whenever In Utero came out. There's a line in Pennyroyal Tea where Kurt says, "Give me a Leonard Cohen afterlife." And I remember saying, like, well, who the hell is Leonard Cohen? And not long after that, Natural Born Killers came out. And 3 tracks from this album, which I think is his 9th or 10th, I think it's his 9th, The Future. 3 tracks from Natural Born Killers is on that. And Natural Born Killers is one of those movies that I don't know a lot of you guys know, but I started out in meteorology school, and who knew that drugs and alcohol don't mix with physics and calculus too well? Who knew? But anyway, my life took a different path, and some of the things that pointed me to get into film school were films like Natural Born Killers, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, some of the Scorsese stuff, Clerks. Anyway, I loved Natural Born Killers and these songs, the haunting, especially the big one that's like the very beginning, Waiting for the Miracle. Holy crap, is that an amazing song. But anyway, I used to watch this all the time in college on acid, and it was just I never thought to pick up any of this music or anything, but I've since now I understand who Leonard Cohen is, and really stoked to give this a jam. Never listened to the whole album. And finally, another movie that really pointed me to film school, that kind of drove me and showed me what independent film was all about weirdo films, funny, weird, effed up films and stuff that was not, not everything Spielberg, you know what I mean, was Kids. And here's the soundtrack from Kids. And I picked it up because it's Kids is one of my favorite weirdo, effed up movies. But I didn't realize Lou Barlow, who you may know from Dinosaur Jr., Sebadoh, and Folk Implosion, he's kind of behind the soundtrack of this. And if you look at the tracks, these are all, Daniel Johnston's on this. No shot I would have known who Daniel Johnston was back then. But lots of Folk Implosion stuff. Here's a Sebadoh track. And a lot of Folk Implosion. I can't remember which. There's one Folk Implosion song that was really popular. Natural One. So really stoked to pick that up. I'm a big Dinosaur Jr., Lou Barlow fan, so really excited to have this in my collection. If you've never seen Kids, do yourself a favor. Better yet, if you've never seen Gummo, watch Kids first and then go watch Gummo. Fantastic film. Appreciate you guys watching. Just a little quick CD update. I just kind of wanted to throw out a little something. And it's not stuff I wanted to include in the weekly live show. Try to stick to records. It is the vinyl community, but don't turn your back on CDs, man, because you'll find some real gems. And I've collected a shit tons over the years, just going into thrift stores looking for records, and then, oh man, they don't have anything, and just looking at the CD rack and be like, oh shit, look at this. Also picked up Who Framed Roger Rabbit on VHS, because in the immortal words of Evel Knievel, do you know who the hell I am? Later, guys.